Welcome to the Fuel Podcast, where we explore the foundations under extraordinary lives.
The Fuel Podcast is sponsored by the Christopher Swartz team at First Choice Mortgage Advisors. NMLS ID 106583. If you're looking to purchase or refinance your mortgage, make the Christopher Swartz team at First Choice Mortgage your first choice.
And now, here is your host, Chris Swartz.
What's up, everybody? It's Chris Swartz, your host of Fuel, and I'm here today with our guest, Tracy Ashdale. Tracy, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. And Tracy comes to us. She's the executive director of Girls on the Run for Montgomery and Delaware County, and she is the CEO, which is the Chief Energy Officer, right?
Correct.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure.
And so tell us a little bit about, real quick, and then we'll kind of come back to it, but it's Girls on the Run.
Girls on the Run is a positive youth development program where we use the power of running to educate and prepare young girls for a lifetime of self-respect and healthy living. And we do it through a 10-week curriculum where the girls meet twice a week for an hour and a half, and they move through a series of lessons that help them develop their social, emotional, and physical muscles. And they're training for a non-competitive 5K event at the end of the 10 weeks.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, you know, we've had some good conversations. We met a few years back at I think a Rotary Club. I think the common theme of a lot of my guests here is we get some awesome guests from that. And you know, we wanted to have you on the show because when you came out and, you know, I heard what you were doing, you know, being a father of two young girls, I was blown away. I was like, that, you know, I've never seen anything like that. There's so many, you know, I mean, there's different organizations and they do great things for the kids, but yours was just a little different in how you kind of just worked with the girls to build them up and to teach them, you know, leadership and, you know, self-confidence. And then, you know, to tie that in with the physical, with the 5K, especially for young girls, because these are 8 to 14.
Yep.
So, you know, I was blown away, and you know, really, you know, just to jump into it. I mean, our daughter Giovanna, she actually went out and she did Girls on the Run last year, and it was amazing. I mean, she didn't, you know, she was so worried about, you know, could she do it? It's, you know, is she going to be able to run that much? And, you know, all these different things. And then I'll tell you, after one or two, you know, of the meetings, and I mean, she came home with the pep in her step, and she was like, I got this. And, you know, she had all her little friends. And so, you know, just kudos to you and the organization and what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad she had such a great experience.
Amazing experience. So,
Yeah.
And, you know, as we talk about that, and I know you have some daughters yourself, so I'm sure they're your fuel, right?
They are.
So how did you, you know, how did you get involved, or, you know, kind of how'd you end up where you are? Is there anything that kind of happened that motivated you to go down this path?
Yep. I was, back in 2001, I was reading my Runner's World magazine.
Okay.
And they were honoring a woman named Molly Barker. She was Hero of the Month. And a small article describing how she had this small idea about helping girls live outside this prescribed girl box that society inadvertently imposed on them. And she wanted to do something to help them know they could move through their world differently. Mm-hmm. And she developed this curriculum called Girls on the Run, helping girls really tap into their social, emotional, and physical strengths and take them for a ride, basically, or a run. Right. And so I read the article and thought this felt like everything I was about. And I had 3 girls. I'm one of 3 girls. And I called down to the headquarters, if you will, which at the time was her house.
Okay, nice.
And they had just, Girls on the Run International had just started the 3 years before that. And they were small. And there was a few councils in the local Charlotte area. And basically it was going to require me to start my own nonprofit entity from the ground up, which was not my wheelhouse at the time. I was a marriage and family therapist. I grew up in a family business, but something resonated with me. The timing wasn't right. I put the article away in my filing cabinet. I moved 2 years later, pregnant with my third, cleaning out my filing cabinet, and there it was. And I thought, you know what, now's the time. And so I called back, got the ball rolling, went down to Charlotte, and began that process. And here we are. It'll be our 14th season, and it's been really the platform for my life's work.
Yeah, and there's a lot of impact there. How many girls go through the program, or each year, and how many have gone through since you started?
So when I started, we had one team of 14 girls at Fort Washington Elementary in Upper Dublin School District, 2 of which were my girls. And this season in the spring, we'll serve 2,000 girls in 95 schools across Montgomery and Delaware counties.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. And how does the word get out? Is it just word of mouth, people telling people stuff that, like, you coming to speak at the Rotary Club, and it just spread?
So just getting back to what you were talking about earlier in terms of what got the drums beating in your heart when you heard me speak at the Rotary Club and your daughter, people have an experience that they don't expect to have with Girls on the Run, because they think it's a running program that's going to build girls' self-esteem, and they don't really know the depth and breadth of the life skills that are developed that are then transferable to these girls' lives in every aspect of their life. So, and our coaches have a remarkable experience, because every one of our lessons each week is still applicable in my life.
Sure.
So the coaches are also having a transformative experience, and people talk and they say, I noticed my kid is showing up differently at home, in school. The teachers are reporting.
We noticed it. The confidence and, just the change in our daughter having gone through the program. It was definitely not what you expected from a running program. We thought, okay, we're going to, send her out. She's going to do some training and build herself up to run, a 5K. And of course we had, the background, and, I heard you talk, so I knew there was more to it, but to experience it firsthand was pretty awesome. It was like, wow. And she's doing it again this year.
It's just so great. So great. We have a lot of girls who repeat it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, I think the piece that resonates with the girls and the parents, probably even more so, is that we're helping girls develop the tools, skills, and language to navigate their relationship with themselves, with others, and to give back in the community. And like you and I, we maybe didn't have that when we were growing up. And so I know I didn't have that. I know people weren't educating me about making intentional decisions, about connecting with others. All of those things. And so that these girls now have choice, and they know they have a choice in terms of how they take care of their mind, body, and spirit, how they develop, nurture, and maintain their relationships, and what happens when they don't go so well, and then what do they do? And we practice that. We have lots of role playing and opportunities for girls to unpack all that ruminates in their head regarding their self-care and their relationships. And I think that that's the part that hooks people and feels like, yes, I need this. My daughter needs this. Yeah. We all need this.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about, like, with their relationships, does social media play a part in kind of what you guys talk about, or, what you do? Is that a challenge that you think the girls, it's obviously a challenge that the girls face now that, when we grew up, didn't exist. So how does that, come into play with your organization? Do you guys talk about anything there?
We do. Yeah. We address social media and the impact that it has on the girls, either when girls when they're constantly barraged and looking at messages and the FOMO and all of that, and then when they also deliver messages through social media, the impact that it could have and the far-reaching impact it could have on other people. And one of the things that I think is so wonderful about our program is that we have this sacred space for an hour and a half twice a week where no one has any devices.
Right.
And we're just face to face, voice to voice, eye to eye. And there's not much of that, because in school today, kids are hooked up to
Sure, they're on
electronics
their
to do their
devices in
work. They
school.
come home, all the platforms that they do their homework on are through
Yeah, everything
the
in front of the
computer.
screen.
And so, again, I feel that it is this sacred space that we get that feels very old-fashioned,
Yeah.
but feels so real. And the girls, you can see that they're soaking it all in, and the connection with each other and with the coaches stands out to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely just a big part of young girls today, and seeing our girls, and there's so much pressure, and so to have programs like this, to be able to even if it is right, it's just an hour and a half of that sacred space, but it's important, and it makes such a difference. And so tell me a little bit about you. I mean, how does this, we're talking about Fuel here, and we're talking, Girls on the Run, and, the organization, but what does this, does this do for you in your life? Is this anything that, really fulfills you by being a part of this organization?
So a couple things. One thing that comes to mind is after I coached my first season back at Fort Washington Elementary, I got done and I thought knew I was going to be onboarding 2 more schools the next year and training coaches to deliver the curriculum. And I felt like, despite being a marriage and family therapist, I wasn't living into every one of the lessons that I had just delivered to these girls at the time over those 10 weeks. And I felt a little out of my integrity, if you will.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought, this is why this work is so important, because no matter how old you are, no matter what degrees you have and what training we have, I still felt like the work and the self-reflection and the self-actualization doesn't go away. Sure. And it humbled me and helped me connect more with the girls and the future coaches that I train every year to deliver the content. And so the fuel that I get is, number one, staying connected to the life skill lessons and recognizing that they are still applicable in my life every day. Yes, I'm better and I do things differently now, but it doesn't go away.
Right.
And I've obviously, as an adult, we have better insight and we can make different kinds of choices. And the other piece of it is the fuel I get is when I see these girls grasping the concepts and that they actually are using them with each other throughout the lessons, and they take the high road even when it's hard.
That's awesome.
And when we see our coaches having what I call magical moments, because they're having their own experience too, and they'll call and say, I'm having an issue with one of my coaches, but I reflected back on lesson 2, and I actually did what I've been telling the girls to do with one of my co-coaches. And so the ability for people to take risks, I do that every day in my life, despite it being hard. I say all the time, it's like taking the leap and building our wings on the way down over and over again, right? And so that fuels me. That keeps me going, my own personal growth, and then seeing it reflected back with the girls and the coaches.
Yeah, it's almost, I guess, when they say when the teacher becomes the student, right? So
100%.
you're able to, kind of learn every day. And, this, especially, whatever, if you have little girls, boys, I mean, kids will just teach you so much. I mean, just about your life and the insight that they have and the lessons that you can extract from your children is, it's powerful.
If we allow the space.
Right, exactly, because we're always trying to be the teacher. And but yeah, so what else is going on in your world? What keeps you busy outside of your Girls on the Run and being the director and finding all these new schools and chapters to get going? Because I know it's growing like wildfire.
It is. So I first we launched Girls on the Run camp last summer.
Oh, okay.
So 1 week sessions, and we're going to have 3 locations this summer coming up. We'll have one at the Tyler Arboretum, one at Temple Ambler campus, and one in Norristown at the Recreation Center. So that's really exciting.
Okay. So is that going to be like
a condensed version? Yes. Yes,
Okay.
a condensed version. So it's a week-long session with 3 full days and 2 half days. That's very exciting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm writing a book.
Okay.
Yeah. It's called Switching Lanes, and it's part autobiography and part helping people look at the discrepancy between where they are in their life, where they want to be, and what the barriers are that are getting in the way.
Oh, okay. We'll definitely have to let us know when you finish. And,
I will.
And we'll definitely get that out, and love to read it myself. So let's see what, just given everything, that you're doing, we really want to thank you for taking the time to come out and be on our show. And so now we kind of hit you with a few little fun questions at the end here. Hit you with our rapid fire. And so rapid fire is just a fun little exercise we do at the end. 3 questions, and the context is you're stuck on an island. And first question, we're going to throw the disclaimer out there, right, Gene? Outside of your friends and family, because we know that you don't take your friends and family, and we don't want to get anyone in trouble. So outside of friends and family, one person that you could bring that's either had an impact on your life, that's fun, or anybody come to mind that you would take to be stuck on an island with you there. It can even be a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
Gene got himself in some trouble with this one.
Rapid fire means I got to spit it out fast. Huh?
We can.
So who would I take with me? Well, if it was a celebrity, I might take Barbra Streisand. But if it was somebody that had a serious impact on my life and really shifted the trajectory of my life, I would say there's 2 people. One is Dr. Adele Cox. She was a psychiatrist that I worked with for many years when I was a psychiatric social worker. And the other person was an organizational consultant that I did some leadership training with.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they're going to keep you in line, get everything going. Okay.
Yep.
And the second question, what book would you take with you? A book that's had some impact on you that you like to share with our listeners?
That's a hard one because I read like a book in 2 weeks.
Right.
Well, I'll say one thing. Warren Bennis has had a significant impact on my life.
Okay.
And I think of a quote that that has guided me through my career. So I would say any of his work, is up there in the rankings. The quote is, becoming a leader is synonymous with becoming yourself. It's precisely that simple and that difficult.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And we know your book will be on the list coming soon, right?
Yes.
And the last one, what food would you bring with you? What's your...
mint chocolate chip ice cream.
Love it. Love it. There we go.
Didn't have to think about that one.
Yeah, there we go. See, that was a rapid fire.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show today. And for our listeners, how can they connect with you? How can they find out more about the organization? How can they help? Anything you want to share with us? First, where we can find you, and then any ways people can get involved and help.
Great. First of all, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
No, you're welcome.
And I'm glad our paths crossed.
Same.
So they can reach us at gotrpa.org.
Okay.
And lots of opportunities to get involved, to coach, to volunteer. We have so many events throughout the year. Our 5K committee, employment opportunities. I have an unbelievable team, a staff that works amazing energy to bring to life this Girls on the Run program. And so that's always an option as well. They can reach us also, I guess we're on Instagram at Girls on the
Throw
Run.
it out there.
Girls on the Run, PA Strong.
Okay.
Our Facebook is Girls on the Run in Montgomery and Delaware counties. What other platform didn't I hit? That's about it. That's where we are mostly. Yeah.
And all the I'm sure you can find links to all this on the website and the opportunities and everything right there.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for being a guest and coming out. And for those of you that are listening, if you got something out of this, we'd love for you to give us a 5-star review on iTunes. Share this with your friends and family. And on that note, we're out.